everyone, Cathy Zielske here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I've got another 5 tips for card makers that just might change your life forever. Okay, maybe not forever, but these 5 tips, simple as they are, they might even bring about world peace. Anyone? No? I have the same shirt on it for continuity. Different hairstyle though, so you know, hey, this is a different clip. I'm always thinking. My 5 tips coming up next. Tip number 1 is to use a clothespin when you are heat embossing. I learned this fantastic tip from my friend Gina K, and it keeps your fingers from getting hot while you are using the heat tool. It doesn't really matter what size the cardstock is that you are embossing, but it gives you that clearance so the fingers stay protected, the wood doesn't absorb the heat. Gina, you are a genius, and this is my favorite tip almost ever. Tip number 2, flatten warped panels inside of a book. Now I just finished heat embossing, and what happens 9 out of 10 times? My panel is warped. So I keep a book or 2 in my craft/dining room, and I take my warped panels and I just pop them inside the book and stick them under something heavy. Now I've already done one. Here is the same panel in the book for, I don't know, about an hour. And it's flat, and now it's ready to go. And I know, you might think, but Cathy, there are other ways to flatten panels. That is true, there are. So I put one to the test. You can run your cardstock panel that has been embossed through a die cut machine. Well, I tried this, went back and forth a few times, clean plates. I probably should have stuck a piece of paper in there, but I did not. Just did this for the purpose of the tip video. And when I took it out, you know, it was still a little warped. So, the book thing, it works for me, and honestly, why are we always in such a hurry? You know, I mean, if you've got the time, put it in a book, stick it under something heavy. This is exactly what I do. Under that lamp, and then take a load off. Relax for a few. You deserve it. Tip number 3, dehair your die cuts. Well, let me explain this one. You know how you run your intricate die through the die cut machine, and if you take a close look at it, there are always these little paper, well, I call them hairs, paper hairs, little pieces of the cardstock that's kind of hanging there. And I always find that when I assemble my card, that's when I notice all these little hairs. So I've started to get into the habit of dehairing my die cuts. I take purple tape, put it on my fingers, and just start rolling it over the die cut. I usually hold the die cut down, especially if it's a delicate die cut, because you don't want to bend it and get it all mucked up that way. But what will happen is you're going to see so much paper hairs, if you will, come off the die cut. So it's just a really easy way to get that die cut clean. Look at that. It's like a Biore pore strip, but for your die cuts. So if you want those die cuts nice and clean, clean out those pores. Use some purple tape. Tip number 4, replace one die cutting plate at a time. Now I am a plate replacer. When my bottom plate starts to look a little mucky like that, I tend to ditch it, okay? Pull that aside, and I always keep a stash of new plates on hand. So I throw away the bottom plate, or I keep it for weird craft projects that might require a bottom plate that looks like that. And my former top plate becomes the new bottom plate, and then I open up the new package, take one plate out, and that becomes the new top plate. The other thing I try to remember to do is every now and then to flip my bottom plate around if it starts to feel a little bowed. But this way it extends the life of my plates, gives me a new fresh top plate, and we're good to go. My final tip is using embossing magic to de-stick your fingers. Have you ever had your sentiment lined up, ready to go, and maybe you're using a Misti creative corner just to make sure it's straight, and then you realize as you go to close the door to pick up the stamp, the door won't close because the creative corner is in the way of the hinge? So you put your finger down to move the creative corner, and then, yeah, your stamp sticks to your finger and your placement is ruined. Here's my tip. Get your stamp in position, right? You know it's not going to clear that hinge. Take your embossing magic and just take your sticky finger and just rub it over the pad. I don't know, maybe it's just me. Maybe my hands are stickier than most, but if I do this, I can hold my stamp in place, My finger doesn't stick, it doesn't move the stamp. I can get that creative corner out of the way and then proceed with business as usual, picking up my perfectly straight stamp, just like that. I'll be back soon with more tips, but for now, I think I'm going to relax with a little more reading. Self-care for the win. Thanks so much for watching today. I would love to have you become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. And if you do subscribe, be sure to hit the gray bell below the video so that you don't miss the next time I post. Here are a couple other videos that you might be interested in watching. Thanks so much and have a great day.